So in our first video, we talked about navigating from a Canvas assignment into the KnowledgePath assignment and the activities of your learning path. For example, we're in the early roots of psychology. We had moved through several of our learnings. Now, let me show you some of the features that allow you to make the learning more interactive for you as well. Let's say I'd like to highlight a section of this. Let me do that. I click at the beginning of the text and I highlight it. Now I have a couple of options. I can highlight it with the sense of a color, or I can also put an annotation, a note, to help me remember some concept. So let's put a highlight. Let's make it blue, and that's been done. Let me come down here and make an annotation. And now I can actually create a note, something specific to this. Learn this. And I create my note. So now I don't have the highlight, but I have a little word bubble that when I click, it says, learn this. Now, obviously, you want to make this functional to you, so you probably want to make the annotation much stronger than what I included, but this just shows you what you can do. Always remember, be in full screen mode. Click that first as soon as you have started and continue through your work. Let's say I want to make a highlight right here. This is a really important textbook. Let's change the color. Let's make this bold. So now we have these options. What helps us learn best? This is what we have as an option. So I'm going to exit this learning and show you some more information. So we've taken notes, and that's really great. But what good is that if we don't know where they are? Well, yes, we can go back to our node and go through the learnings and find it. But what if I can show you a better way? The first thing, since we've been talking about it, is in the menu where we have some options. Now, what did we do? We actually made some highlights. And here they are. So right here, it shows us the highlights we have entered. That's wonderful. We can go right to either the section or the lesson. You have that option from right here. Let me go back. What else can I look at? Well, I can look at my annotations. And there it is. Learn this. What can I do? I can, again, by hovering over this, go to either the section or the lesson. Let's go to the section. And there we are, right at that one place where I had put that message. Here we are, and there's our annotation. Great way to use the system to help you learn better. Let it guide you through your knowledge path. Let's see a few other things that we can look at. So now I'm going to actually show you how to create a bookmark, and then I'm going to show you where it lives also. Come to your lesson path and go to the drop-down area. You will then see the option to bookmark this section. It will give a title that can identify the bookmark. If you wanted to change this to something else, that's perfectly acceptable. But this is basically the title of the material that's being presented to you. So for most instances, I would say go ahead and keep that title. So let's say okay to that. Let me show you that you can do that with more information as you move forward in your learning. Now, I see something here and I'd like to bookmark it. Let me do that. And again, I keep the same title. So now this is me creating the bookmarks. So now we've created the bookmarks, and I've previously shown you the easy way to access your annotations and your highlights. Let me show you the easy way to also access your bookmarks. So again, we're going to come up to the menu, and this is where we'll go to our bookmarks. And there they are, our 2 bookmarks, with this section, with the exact title of the learning that you were going through. This is a great way of navigating, again, to the information and making it relevant to you. Let's say you're going through it and you see the principles of the scientific method. This is something I really, really need to know, and I want to refer back to it. You have options. If you decide you don't need the bookmark anymore, you can delete it. If you choose to and you want to rename it, you can do that as well. And again, like before with the highlights that we were looking at and the annotations, by clicking on it, you can go to the section or the lesson. So let's just do that for this one. And there we are, back in the section on the scientific method. So now we have gone to a bookmark that brings us exactly to where we want to be within our information. And you go through it, and if you would like to continue, you can actually exit at this point. Discard your progress, because that was just bringing you to the bookmark. You always, of course, have the option to go back to your material, and let me show you that quickly, where you learn. And again, now the whole lesson path is again open to you. You have this option always to go back and relearn information or revise if you haven't scored high enough on the questions to move forward. Okay, so let's look at that menu again and see what our options are. So we've already looked at highlights and annotations. Let's look at the other items. We have messages, assessments, and queried questions that we haven't spoken about. Let me get off of the menu and show you what else you have. You have the contact. Now contact you'll see again when you look at messages, but this is a place where you can directly send a message to your instructor. It automatically has an option for I want a response, which prompts the instructor that you're waiting for a reply. Now let's look at menu again. Now menu has messages, and it's a little bit more in depth because it has received, sent, and again the option to compose. So if you have sent a message to your instructor, you will see that right here. If you wish to compose, you can send that right here. And as you see, it looks very, very similar to contact. And again, as I mentioned, you have received. So be aware of this section and check it frequently to be sure that your instructor may have sent you messages regarding the KnowledgePath assignments. Again, we spoke of the items. Assessments lives in here. This is not something which is used very widely here at Bay Path University, so you probably will not see anything living within assessments, but always feel free to check and see just to make sure there are no informational items put in there. Finally, the last part we haven't spoken of is queried questions. So if you are going through your learning and you find that there's a question that you are not sure about, not that you don't know it, but that you actually think you do know it, and the system is marking you incorrect. This is a place where you can send this information to your instructor for review. So if you had queried a question while you were going through the question, it would show up in this area. So you can almost imagine the menu area to be a dashboard for you. It contains information of messages, bookmarks, highlights that you have created, annotations, and queried questions. So it's a dashboard showing you your activity with the KnowledgePath. So simply to recap, you are in a learning path. It shows the number of activities that are in a learning path, which is an assignment which lives in Canvas. You will have many times items which are locked if there is an earlier activity that is a prerequisite. You have the option to view this as a list. Once you are in material, you have the ability to save, or something that we didn't talk about yet is an alternative version. Now, I've done the reading, and you know what? I think my learning style works better with different material. Let's see if there's a different version of it. Now, once again, more reading, but it's more information. So always be alert to the fact that there may be more information provided to you in your lesson path that may help you understand the material in a different way. So I'm going to exit again, and I'm always saving for my progress. You always have the option. Do you want to save your progress, or do you want to discard your progress? Another thing we've been talking about is full screen. Put KnowledgePath in full screen. It will help display more of the material. You always know you're in full screen if you do not see the breadcrumbs. If you do, like this, you know you're not in full screen. Simply click on this to make it full screen, and you will see so much more of the screen. So my final point is, remember, you need to score at an expert level on all the nodes within your learning path. All the nodes must be at the expert level. If you do not, you will not receive full credit for the KnowledgePath assignment. Again, realize it's an adaptive learning platform. There are many occasions where once you've gone through your determined knowledge, you may score out of certain nodes. You may prove yourself to be an expert or master in a particular concept within the learning path. You always have the ability to go back to that material and review what is in each node. There will be nodes that are locked until earlier activities are completed. So use your knowledge path. Work at it to gain mastery of the concepts. I hope this helps, but as always, if you have any questions, please be in touch with your online support team. Thank you, and best of luck in your knowledge path.